one final call to the students. Okay, Rita ma'am, should I start?
Yes, just a minute.
Okay, since Kinkini ma'am is waiting for a long time, she has other work to do.
Yes, start.
Yes. Thank you and welcome all, welcome children and welcome our eminent guest today, Ms. Kinkini Dasgupta Misra, who is like a personality to be introduced here. Actually, she's scientist F in the Gyan Prasar and she is all the time in the like YouTube live. I have seen her video also. So it's an honor to hear her today. And today we are like celebrating special birthdays in the sense that we are starting Vigyanika Shakti program this year by celebrating birthdays of two eminent and father of physics, we can say. One is Sir Isaac Newton. Of course, we will talk about him and we will do some quiz and we will do some interactive session on Sir Isaac Newton. But at the same time, we also coming back to Indian soil, our father called Father of God Particle, Dr. Satyendranath Bose, SN Bose, whom we call, and his birthday was also gone on 1st of January. So we are celebrating both birthdays together today to know about them, to have more knowledge about their work and kind of to interact, to make it an interactive session so that all of you can enjoy, can ask questions to the eminent speakers who are present here. So let me first call upon stage on in this forum, Ms. Kinkini Dasgupta Misra, who will be showing you on Dr. Satyendranath Bose as shown on the screen that he was called Father of God Particle, but how but her title suggests the forgotten. So we will know about how forgotten and how he became forgotten. So please stay tuned and don't forget to ask questions. That's what I am kind of encouraging you, because all of you are very small children, but of course you have the inquisitiveness in you and we want to keep it alive. So please ask Dr. Misra, ma'am, about the presentation she is going to show, and please interact with her also. So please, ma'am, you can start.
Thank you, Dr. Anuja. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me, Dr. Rita Bhattacharya, and all the members of Vigyanika Shakti. I'm really, it's a pleasure for me to be here and interacting with all of you, especially the children. Since I'm going to talk more about the, life sketch of Professor S.N. Bose, Satyendranath Bose, scientist. So there'll be a lot of, I don't know, the children are quite small, but I would like to make this presentation interesting and more, informative for the children. And so it is mostly, about his work and his life and the other aspects of his life. That is what I'm going to project, I'm going to highlight. Yeah, so so the screen is visible, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, just a minute. So is the slide moving?
No, it is not moving.
That's what.
Slide.
Yeah. So today we'll be talking about Satyendranath Bose. Yeah, I've written the word forgotten father of God particle. So as we move into the presentation, we'll try to understand and figure out why the title is today's talk is titled as Forgotten Father of God Particle. So somehow why the slide is not moving ahead, I really do not know. Yeah. So now the second slide is there, isn't it? The first slide is on the screen.
No, second slide is there.
It's moving.
Yeah, it's moving. Fine. So the children, Have you ever heard that someone scored 110 marks out of 100? Isn't it surprising? So you must be wondering, how is it possible that in a question paper of 100, in a test, somebody is scoring 110? But it is possible, and this happened. So one of the greatest physicists and mathematician of his time, and we take all pride that he was born in Bengal, Satyendranath Bose, who was popularly known as SN Bose. He was awarded marks above the maximum permissible by his mathematics teacher when he was in school. So, of course, when the school principal saw that how come the marks is 110 out of 100, so he asked for an explanation. So the headmaster, that time it used to be headmaster, the headmaster called for an explanation for this kind of unconventional, marking system. He thought that it is by mistake, by error. So he's the Bose's teacher, Upendra Bakshi, who gave him this maximum, marks. He replied that Satyan had succeeded in the allotted time in solving all the questions without excluding any of the alternatives. There are certain, when you grow, you'll realize there are some alternate questions, do 5 out of 6 questions or 8 questions. So it simply means that Bose had successfully solved all the questions by all the possible methods and within an allocated time. So this, for which the teacher got really impressed, and he found that this boy is brilliant, and this speaks of his genius. So this is a story which is quite moving and which shows at very early age that he was, he could apply all the methods to solve a problem, to solve all the questions, and within allocated time, and all correct. So the teacher got so impressed that he gave 10 additional marks. So this is one thing which I thought I should start with. And Satyendranath Bose was a devoted physicist. He was a major figure in the development of quantum statistics and theoretical physics. Today, a lot of research, a lot of scientific advances is going on based on his theory and his research and his contribution to the science in general, overall, in the global science, in the world science. And he was very much famous and noted for his collaboration with Albert Einstein in developing a theory regarding the gas-like qualities of electromagnetic radiation. And Albert Einstein built upon his ideas to develop a system of quantum mechanics, and that became what is mostly popularly known as Bose-Einstein statistics. And I don't know whether you have heard about a subatomic particle, which is known as bosons, which is named after him. So from Bose, it was named bosons. This is a subatomic particles of finite mass, which is studied in quantum physics, were named after him. So where I'll try to make you understand in simple words, like what is this bosons is all about. What happened was that, what was the relationship between Bose and Einstein? I'll come to his early life a little later. Before that, I would like to say that he was a professor, he was a reader in physics department at the University of Dhaka. That time it was part of Bengal and part of India. Bose wrote a paper on a novel way of counting states of identical particles. But unfortunately, his paper was not accepted for publication. So he was not bogged down, and he did not lose his heart. So he sent the article directly to Einstein in Germany, and with a request to help get it published in the leading German language science journal. And the journal was called Zeitschrift für Physik, because the paper which he wrote was in English. So he wrote a handwritten letter. He sent a handwritten letter to Einstein, and in the covering letter, he wrote that, though a complete stranger to you, I do not feel like hesitation in making such a request. He made a request that kindly you translate this into Germany, because we are all your pupils, though profiting only by your teachings through your writing. So he directly approached Einstein, and he requested him to translate this paper in Germany and publish it in German science journal. So Einstein not only acknowledged the receipt of Bose's letter, but also assured Bose that he would have it published, as he regarded it as an important contribution. So Einstein himself translated Satyendranath Bose's paper into German, and it was published in August 1924. So that was the first paper that was published in 1924. And the Einstein, in his translator's note, called Bose derivative of Planck's formula an important step forward. So that is how the relationship between Bose and Einstein developed, and Einstein's applied Bose's method to give the theory of ideal quantum mechanics and quantum gas, and which predicted the phenomena of Bose-Einstein condensation. So this is how the relationship between Bose and Einstein developed and the bonding developed. So Bose worked with Albert Einstein to bring out the Bose-Einstein statistics and theory of Bose-Einstein condensation in the 1920s. So in the area of quantum statistics, I would just like to make you understand that this is one of the two possible ways in which a collection of, indistinguishable particles, when I say indistinguishable, non-interacting particles, may occupy a set of discrete energy states. There are different energy states, there are different energy levels. So at thermodynamic equilibrium. So the Bose derived this mathematical formula, and based on his concept, Einstein, based on that photons, the Bose-Einstein theory was developed. And here I would like to give you a little bit of origin of universe. As science unfolds the mysteries of the universe, there is an accepted view of today is that the universe started with a very big, gigantic explosion called Big Bang. So for fractions of a second after the Big Bang, the universe consisted of the most elementary constituents of matter, which are constantly interacting with each other through other particles, and which are carriers of different forces in nature. So the carriers of forces in nature were named after Satyendranath Bose, and they were called bosons. And since people called at that time, they were not aware that how these particles, where are they emerging from? So they called that particle God particle. So that is how the name God particle started. And so you can see that boson is an elementary subatomic particle which was named after Bose to commemorate his contributions to physics. And the term boson was coined by another physicist of repute called Paul Dirac for the particles that obey Bose-Einstein statistics. And I would like to also here talk about that why he was called the father of Bose, father of God particle, because the particles that follow Bose's statistics have been named bosons in his honor. And there is no other scientist whose name is linked with Einstein as boson's name. If you find in all the physics textbooks also, you will not find anywhere any other Indian scientist's name or any other scientist's name which is linked with boson. So the Albert Einstein generalization of Bose's work led to the system of quantum mechanics now known as Bose-Einstein statistics. And that led to a lot of research and advancements which we now see, which we call it a mega science experiments. These mega science experiments, these are large experiments that is being organized, that is being conducted, performed globally through collaboration. So where there are international, national, Indian scientists, Indian institutions, scientific institutions, and international scientific institutions are coming together to work on these mega science experiments to solve a lot of scientific developments and to solve discoveries. And this all has its beginning from Bose-Einstein statistics or condensation. So he laid the foundation over which these path-breaking experiments are being carried out today. You must have heard about the Large Hadron Collider, which is the research is going on at CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research. So I'll come back to you in more details during the interaction session. So this is all which is going on through that boson, from the boson, as well as the Bose-Einstein statistics. And so this is, and similarly, there are other INO, International Neutrino Observatories, all where the basic, the element, the subatomic particle that is being used is boson. And then it happened vice versa also. The Einstein approached, Einstein also wrote to Bose, and Bose said that he used to send his research articles directly to Einstein in German and requested him to translate them in German, and it used to get published in all the German science languages. That time, most of the science work and the journals were available in German language. So therefore, Einstein himself started translating Bose's paper into German and started publishing them in different German language science journals. So this is how, and see, you can see here, like Einstein is writing a letter to Professor S.N. Bose. So this is how, and this was year 1952. So you can see that there is a continuous, link and bonding and, work collaboration between Einstein and Bose. And Einstein also invited Bose to Europe, and he visited all the countries where the scientific research is going on. Now, coming back to the early life, Bose was born in Calcutta. At that time, it was Calcutta, and on January 1, 1894. So that's why we always celebrate his birth anniversary on every year on January 1. And he was the eldest and the only male in the family. And he was a multifaceted genius. And he worked in the diverse fields such as chemistry, biology, soil science, mineralogy, philosophy, you name it, everywhere he could contribute, and he was proficient. And he had profound knowledge, fine arts, archaeology, literature, music, languages. And Bose made a name for himself in the school due to his love for science. And Satyendranath Bose began his education at an elementary school in Calcutta, and before entering the Hindu school in 1907, so at the age of 13, he joined the city's Hindu school, and his mathematical prowess made Bose an outstanding pupil. And gradually he attended the Presidency College, where he found another noted scientist, Meghnad Saha. He was his fellow student, and Bose also came in contact with Jagadish Chandra Bose, Prafulla Chandra Ray, who inspired him to aim high in life. And I would like to inform you that when I started the presentation, I said that he was he as a child, he got 110 out of 100. And similarly, he stood first in Calcutta University. And it is said that nobody could break his record marks in Calcutta University at that point of time. And thereafter, Bose joins the physics department of the University of the Calcutta University as a research scholar and as a lecturer in 1917. And then later he moved to University of Dhaka, and which is now in Bangladesh, as a reader in 1921. And he did not done a doctorate, and Einstein's recommendation helped him become a professor and head of the department there. And then later on, he returned to Calcutta University in 1945. This is the picture of S.N. Bose's house in Calcutta. Here I would like to mention one thing, how science flourished in Bengal in early in 1920. During that time, in the period, actually the period starts from 1840 to 1920, there was an emergence of many Indian scientists like C.V. Raman, S.N. Bose, Meghnad Saha, J.C. Bose, and they were really flush of creativity in science in Bengal, and especially in Calcutta. So many factors must have contributed to such a flourishing environment. I would like to, mention here, since I'm talking to a group of children and group of people who are specifically from Calcutta and West Bengal. Many factors must have contributed to such that flourishing environment. There was an environment of scientific research, scientific thinking. The stewardship of the university by Sir Ashutosh Mukherjee, who was a mathematician himself, Mahendralal Sarkar, who established the Indian of cultivation of science, and there was a scientific climate which was created by J.C. Bose, P.C. Ray, And there was an urge for self-expression in the country.
रात 10 बजे से सवेरे 5 बजे तक नाइट कर्फ्यू है, ये भी आपको हम अभी बता दे रहे हैं। सोशल मीडिया को
I think some. So there was that scientific climate was there, which was created by at that time, the stalwarts of science like J.C. Bose, P.C. Ray. And there was an urge for self-expression in the countries, reeling, because that time country was under colonial rule. Country was under British rule. So that time, the major breakthroughs happens in Indian science, like Saha's equation for thermal ionization in 1920, C.V. Raman's Raman effect in 1928, Bose-Einstein's theory in 1924. So there was, there is an historical, context that how science was flourishing in Bengal, especially in Calcutta. I just thought I would, you as children should know that how we contributed to the Indian science. And how Bose was a person? As I said, he was a professor all his life. And he was he had a, with profound interest in different branches of science, mathematics, statistics, literature, language, and music. And one of the aspects of Bose's life was he was very unconventional. How? Like in meetings and conferences or in public forums, he often would close his eyes and people would think that he had fallen asleep. But actually it was the other way around. He used to be alert all the time. So in fact, it was quoted by one of his contemporaries, S.D. Chatterjee. He said that though the consciousness and the unconscious appear to have a strange, deep unity in his restless brain, he is always thinking. Though people used to have a perception that he is going into solemnness or he's not giving attention to the lecture or the program that is going on, but he was a kind of a different, level of perception was that he was engaged, he was like a childlike and a man of supreme genius who was entirely human, and he was always immersed in solemnness and full of alertness. Once what happened, he was once presiding over a lecture of Professor Niels Bohr at Saha Institute of Nuclear Physics. Niels Bohr was another physicist of profound, name. He was a reputed name and he was a very renowned physicist. He visited Saha Institute of Nuclear Physics in Calcutta, and when he was delivering the lecture, Professor S.N. Bose had closed his eyes and it seemed that he was fast asleep. So when Professor Bohr, hesitated before the blackboard and said, perhaps Professor Bose can help me here, he at once opened his eyes, explained the mathematical point, and seemed to revert to his unseen meditation. So on another occasion at the same venue, he was presiding over a lecture by Professor Juliet Curie. So he was as a personality, he was very unconventional, and he used to go into deep thoughts and meditation, but his consciousness was fully there. He was fully alert. He was a true nationalist. He supported the independence of India from Great Britain. And there are a lot of stories and a lot of articles it's there about his true nationalist, which I don't want to cover it here. So this is how Bose was as a person. And he was a multifaceted genius. He loved music and fine arts. His love for fine arts was like this, that there's a professor called Professor Dhurjyoti Prasad Mukherjee. He was a great musician. He was writing his book on Indian music, and he received a number of suggestions from his friend Satyendranath Bose. And Dhurjyoti Prasad Mukherjee he used to say, if Bose had not been a scientist, he might have become a master musicologist. So he was he was extremely fond of instrumental music, and he himself played esraj. Esraj is an instrumental musical instrument, and he was very proficient in that, as you can see in the image, in the photograph, where he's playing his esraj. And he was always, he had an absorbing interest in fine arts, and often discusses the mural paintings with the maestro like Jamini Roy. Seldom did he decline. He never used to refuse any musical satire cultural function and art exhibition. So this shows that how genius was he, and he loved poetry. He could read and recite fluently in how many languages do you know? Bengali, English, French, and Sanskrit. And he was a member of Bengali Cultural Renaissance, presided over by none other than Rabindranath Tagore, and he was associated with him all throughout. So this is how he is. Besides being a scientist, being a physicist and mathematical genius, he was also very extremely fond of music, art, and poetry. His love for mother language. Bose was a science communicator. He was the person who actually, popularized science in Bengal. And he strongly felt that it was his duty to present science to the common man in his own language. So he wrote mostly in Bengali, and that is the reason his contribution in popularizing science is not known outside Bengal. And it was largely Bose's efforts that led to the establishment of Bangio Bigyan Porishad, a science association Bengal in 1948. And he even started teaching relativity to postgraduate students in colloquial Bengali. So that time, since we were under British Empire, in the British rule, colonial rule, so most of the language, most of the comedium instruction in school and colleges and university used to be English. But he took this, he came forward and he started teaching physics and mathematics in Bengali. So this shows his love for the language, and also he understood the importance of communicating science and teaching science in Bengali. And he also started, he's one of the popular science magazine, which is known as Gyan or Bigyan, which promote understanding and love for science among the youth. So, there is Rabindranath Tagore dedicated, Rabindranath Tagore wrote a book on science called Vishwa Porichaya, and he dedicated this only book on science to Satyendranath Bose. So you can see that how he, promoted science through his mother language, Bengali, to the people of Bengal, the students of Bengal and the youth of Bengal. And there are many other recognitions which were conferred to him. He was conferred with Padma Bhushan Award in 1954. He was also the National Professor, an award bestowed by Government of India in 1958. And in the same year, he was elected Fellow of the British Royal Society. He was Vice Chancellor of Vishwabharati during the years 1956 to 58 at Shantiniketan. And at the age of 80, Bose suffered an unexpected and severe heart attack, and his last in 1974 on 4th of February. And with his death, Professor Satyen Bose's death, at S.D. Chatterjee has written in one of his books that with Professor Satyen Bose's death, an era ended, an era of great men who created science in India. So I think it's duty of all, especially the younger generation of scientists and students, to carry forward his legacy, the legacy of the love for science, and the legacy for popularizing science in mother tongue, and a lot more. So our younger generation has to learn a lot from the lives of our great scientists like S.N. Bose, and who have rendered yeoman service in the field of science. And Government of India has, initiated a lot of institutions and scholarships in his remembrance, in his name. You are all aware of S.N. Bose National Center for Basic Sciences, which is established in Kolkata, which is situated in Kolkata. And this was established in 1986 to honor life and work of Professor S.N. Bose. I would request all the students to visit that, because there is a museum which portrays the life of S.N. Bose and his contribution to science. And there are a number of scholarship programs that are being offered by at the national level and also at the international level. One is the S.N. Bose Scholarship Program, which is a dynamic and transformative student exchange program between premier institutions in India and United States. So all these details is available on these links. If you're interested, you can log on to that and get to know more about these programs. There is a TWAS, SN Bose Postgraduate Fellowship Program, which is offered by World Academy of Sciences and SN Bose National Center for Basic Sciences. So there are a lot of, and this is actually open for postgraduate students, not for the undergraduates or school level. These are all above, these are the university level. So these are some of the institutions that are, institutions is SN Bose Center, which are doing on basic research in science, in physics, mathematics, life sciences, chemistry, and these are the scholarships. There are a couple of films, which the organization from where I come is Vigyan Prasar. We have brought out a couple of films on SN Bose, his work, his biography. I would request all of you to have these films accessed. And this is available on our OTT platform, which is the only science channel of India, which is called indiascience.in. So you will get a glimpse of his contribution, of his magnanimity, his contribution to the Indian science and the world science. Thank you so much. I would like to interact more with the students. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Kinkini ma'am. And our students, as you mentioned, actually are very small. So they are in the age of 7 to 17, but mostly the class 8 above students are so busy in their studies, they can rarely attend sometimes the science club programs. So the children who are here today are in the age group of from 8 to 12 and 13 and 14 age. So students, like you heard, Kinkini ma'am, she talked about Dr. Bose's life. He was a scientist, a great scientist, Indian physicist. Probably you're hearing about him for the first time. So if you have anything to ask from Kinkini ma'am, she is very knowledgeable in the field. So please, you are encouraged to interact with her. Any question you have? I think they got really absorbed in your talk, and actually it was very interesting that I like how a multifaceted genius like that, actually it's only possible to do such great science if you have other also components inside you that can encourage your greater personality in that sense. So whenever you're doing greater science, along that comes greater personality. So that is most important, to have more upbringing in that direction of arts along with the science. So that was I mean, we heard it about other scientists also, like who were proficient in playing musical instruments, all of them, almost.
All of them, absolutely, yeah.
So science and art somehow are tangled with each other. They cannot be overlooked like it's separate subject than the other. It all comes from the inner artist to do great science. So thank you. Thanks a lot. And we also have Mayuri ma'am here. You are very aware of her. She is our eminent member, Kolkata Nivedita Shakti's member. And she is always busy, but somehow she has always found time to be with us, like particularly for the Vigyanika Shakti program. So thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your time.
Kinkini ma'am, namaste.
তার আগে বাচ্চারা কেউ জিজ্ঞেস করো, তোমরা কিঙ্কিনি ম্যামকে কিছু জিজ্ঞেস করো। ম্যাম যেটা বললেন তোমাদের কেমন লাগলো সেটা বলো। ম্যাম তোমাদের জন্য যে বললেন, তোমাদের যেটা ইচ্ছে হয় জিজ্ঞেস করো, না হয় ম্যামকে বলো।
হ্যাঁ, ভয় পাওয়ার মতন কিছু নেই ম্যাম, মানে অনেক রেসপেক্টেবল পজিশনে আছে।
আমার যেটা মনে হয় রীতা ম্যাম, আমার বোধহয় যেহেতু ছোট ছোট বাচ্চা, আমার মনে হয় আমার বাংলাতে বললে বেশি ভালো হতো।
ইংরেজিতে এক্সপার্ট, সব একেবারে ইংরেজিতে এক্সপার্ট।
I'm sorry, I mean this was not for anything else. Interaction করতে অনেক সময় সুবিধা হয়,
বলো, হ্যাঁ।
definitely.
সেটা সেই অর্থে।
Our children are very comfortable in English.
No,
They
not
become
that,
more
not that
comfortable in
they
English.
don't follow English, but I just thought that the interaction becomes more open and more, you know,
Right.
easy. So that's what I felt.
Right, right. So you have any question, Audrija?
অ্যাটলিস্ট কিছু বলো, কেমন লাগলো? কিঙ্কিনি ম্যাম তোমাদের সাথে দেখা করতে, কথা বলতে এসেছেন, তোমাদের জন্য সব কাজ ফেলে এসেছেন,
ভালো
একটু
লাগলো।
কথা বলো ওনার সাথে।
Turn on your video so that we can see your face.
আর
That
তুমি
becomes
যখন কথা
interaction.
বলবে আগে তোমার পরিচয় দিয়ে নেবে। হ্যাঁ,
Ma'am, why didn't Bose
first
didn't
tell your name, first tell your name and your class.
as Rija? Ma'am, why didn't Bose know German?
But didn't he know German? Because he was always in India, and he studied in India, he studied in English and Bengali, so he could not learn Germany. But later on, he learned other languages, and so that is what his problem at that time. The entire, if you see, of science, it was mostly done in German language, because Einstein could. They were those noted scientists actually communicate in their own language, and their own language is German. And whereas our own language was English and partially our mother language, so Bengali. So, but we were under colonial rule, we were under British rule. So that were most of the, writings and teaching and learnings were happening in English. So Bose did not know German language, but that did not stop him. Actually, initially he had faced the obstacles, but later on, once he got, accessed and got, came into the relationship with Einstein, and Einstein helped in translation. So that was the reason. Because that time in India, the scope for learning a German language was not possible. But actually, you've raised a very good question. I'll tell you why. Because at that time, understanding this, inadequacy, that we don't understand the language, German language, lot of scientists and promising brilliant students were sent to Germany to do study in German language and learn the language, and so that they can contribute, and their work is known to the world. But that was the problem, that our work was not known to the world. We had such great scientists and researchers in India, but our work was not, because the language was one of the barriers.
Ma'am, where was Einstein's born?
Einstein born? He was a Jewish, actually. So where was born, actually, then I would take some time to know, but he was a Jewish, and he was born in, I think, in not in Germany, because he later came to Germany.
But you saw that S.N. Bose and Einstein had a very close relationship in work.
Yeah.
Not only
Yeah.
that, but they started doing work together in a lot of basic physics, particle physics, what we say in physics in that. But then also become quite good friends. They used to share a lot of kind of information together. Not only that, like, as the friends do, they used to have very good connection together. So Bose, and that's why Bose's name many times, and not only that, has been together with Einstein. They worked together in a lot of things. That's why Einstein Bose had become a very good pair in particle physics.
Yes.
So lot of basic science in physics, what you will probably know when you grow up little more. Of course, not little more, even furthermore. When you go to college, probably it will be much better for you to understand what are these basic things are. So thanks, Audrija.
Mira, you say something to Ma'am Kinkini. Say something to Kinkini, ma'am.
First, to introduce yourself, Mira. That's the best. I mean, you should introduce yourself, your class, which class you are in, and then you start the interaction.
I'm Dimira Mukherjee, and I study in class 3A.
Okay.
Ma'am, is that when Einstein and Bose and when Einstein and S.N. Bose were talking,
Interacting, yeah.
interacting, then were they the same age or different?
Age. Einstein was actually born in, I think, 1879. And somebody asked him, where was he born? He was born in Germany, and I think that was in 1879. And so they were, Einstein was senior. And in fact, Bose, when he wrote his first letter, he said respected master, because they were also following Einstein's learnings and teachings and research. So he was senior, Bose.
Yeah.
Okay,
By the
ma'am,
time
thank you.
actually Bose went and presented his paper to Einstein, Einstein was already established as Einstein.
Yeah.
And Bose, S.N. Bose was not that established as a great scientist in
Yes.
India, and also like his work was kind of questionable to everyone because it was not so established. That's why he went to Einstein to take his opinion about the work in the. Thank you, Divera. Anyone else have question? Please ask. Ma'am is here.
Audrija, you please ask something to ma'am, or at least say hello or say thank you.
Audrija, Divyanshi actually. Audrija has already asked and interacted.
Divyanshi.
Maybe Divyanshi, do you have anything?
Yes, no, ma'am, I don't have any question. And the PPT was really nice and it was very informative.
Thank you.
Divyanshi actually presented also in the IISF. He took part in this rainwater harvesting Guinness Book of World Record in IISF and from her school. And she is also one of very multifaceted children here. She has won Hindi poetry competition very recently, All India in Hindi poetry competition. She stood second. And she also does a lot of chess, like she's one of the national level of chess player of her age. So she is quite kind of spread up with her talent, and we are very proud of her as well.
Indeed. Congratulations. Thank you to you.
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Best wishes to you.
Yes, so like Divyanshi is in class 6, Timira and Audrija are in class 3. So we have actually a very small children here who probably.
Timira was in class 4.
Ah, she's big.
In class 4.
No, is in class 3. Anyway, so the point is like they're really small, but listening skills is also probably is very useful for developing their interest in science in future. So that's why we want like people like you to come and interact with the children so that can listen to you also and kind of get the impression that how this kind of presentation can be given and how to talk with people like you and so on. So that is the encouragement towards their side. We're trying to groom them from the very early age so that they can get some kind of thing in the exposure. Right. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
We're delighted to be with you. Thank you so much.
No, we are very much delighted to have you with us, and we are real fortunate, and I hope that you will stay with us for future also. And we will have other programs when please share your knowledge with these children, and they will be really benefited from your like interaction and knowledge sharing. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And now moving forward, we have also Mary ma'am here joined us today. Since we have another birthday celebration to do, which is Sir Isaac Newton. And the point of doing this birthday celebration or a special day celebration is to kind of encourage children to know about the scientists, their lives, even they are listening to the lives and their experiences and what they work they have done, they get the exposure which they keep in their mind. So with that, I would like to request Mayuri ma'am. Mayuri ma'am is also like a eminent figure in teaching the science, and she is like in Vidyarthi Vigyan Manthan. And we are really fortunate to have her as a member of Kolkata Nivedita Shakti. And as always, she is always connected with Vigyanika Shakti. She gives her like expert advice how to improve the interaction with children, how to encourage them with different activities. So if now we are doing online, and that is the not very healthy for the children, in the sense that they always want some activities. And that's what we are planning in 2022. But with the Omicron, it has been halted again. So we will eventually want to be more we want to do it more personal way, like we will call them, we'll show them hands-on experience, like experiments, so that they can have exposure to different kinds of scientific activities as well. So Mayuri ma'am always is towards this, like we have to do some kind of hands-on experiments with them. So today I have requested Mayuri ma'am to do something on Sir Isaac Newton. It's a presentation or an activity that she has planned, but that's a surprise for the children. So please, Mayuri ma'am, over to you.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone present here, members of Kolkata Nivedita Shakti, and thank you, Dr. Anuja and Dr. Rita ma'am, for giving me opportunity today to be among the children to celebrate the birthdays of two eminent personalities, one from the West and one from our loving country, Bharat. Before we start talking about Isaac Newton, I would just want to know from our children, because I know today, I don't know why they were a little apprehensive, they talk later, but when they started, I know there was never ending talk for them. Do they know that who has actually discovered gravity before Newton? Is there anyone who can answer this question of mine before I start with something different for them this time? Is there anyone who's going to answer this question of mine? Whatever, whether if it is a wrong question also, I'll appreciate.
Ma'am, can you repeat the question again?
The question is, who discovered gravity before Newton? Isaac Newton, because I'm supposed to talk about him.
You can guess.
Yeah, you say anything, that is appreciated.
It's that we are going to learn, so
yes.
It doesn't matter that if you're wrong.
Because you know what happened, how things came up. So that was an accident, right? So now let us also question something which may be a correct question or may not be a correct question too.
So we know Newton was really old time, but who think about older times, even older times then?
Yes.
Ma'am, is it Brahmagupta too?
Correct. You took your time to search. That's great. He was the one, as it is said, that he was the one before him, and that was somewhere in 598 in 670, between that period. But nothing is really recorded. So whatever is recorded is all recorded after that particular fruit fell down. Now, which was that fruit? The most famous fruit of yours? Just tell me what fell down on Newton?
Apple.
Yes. And what actually you rather you can say disappointed Newton, or what encouraged Newton to think about the way the apple fall? Because it is said that apple is such a fruit that it falls straight. Have you ever seen an apple falling down? No. Then you need to tell your parents to take you to some hilly areas where apple orchards are there. So now, actually, what has happened that there is no such evidence that whether any fruit fell down or not, but it's a saying that an apple fell down on his head, and that is where he got that interest of knowing why did it fall down straight, and that's how all kind of research was started. And people say that if Newton was alive today, what would have happened? If he was alive today, what would have happened? If he was alive today, can you say what would have happened? Can anyone say what would have happened?
Again, a guessing will do.
Yes, we are now playing a game. It's an interactive session where somewhere I am wrong, somewhere Anuja ma'am is wrong, somewhere Rita ma'am is wrong, and somewhere you are wrong. So we all are playing a game now.
There will be more apple trees.
Yes. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Who is it? So now actually what people like us, people like, I am not scientist, people like Kinkini ma'am, people like your Anuja ma'am, they would be saying that if he would have born today, he wouldn't have invented the parabolic mirror telescope because that's what he has invented. Instead, what he would have done was, he would be one of the person orbiting the earth. Isn't it? Right or wrong?
They're
He won't
thinking,
have
still
been a
thinking whether it will be
creationist.
right or wrong.
Actually, people say he is a creationist, but he would have been a cosmologist. Right now, this is our situation. So anyway, before we start actually to talk about Isaac Newton, I have just shared a wonderful YouTube video with Anuja ma'am, because my device is not working. It fell down from my hand and I broke my screen today. So I just want Anuja ma'am just to show the YouTube video which I have shared first, and then I'll start with my PPT presentation.
So you want me to show the video?
Yeah, that's a song. I want them to hear the song first. They are all learning art integrated learning, so they must hear to the song.
So that's the Newton's 3 laws with the bicycle, that one, right?
You can show that also, and then the second YouTube. We can start with the bicycle also.
Okay.
Let them enjoy some fun. This is a cartoon.
Yeah, give me a little time.
Yeah.
Because my device is again in like a massive delay today.
Anyways, by the time you are arranging, I'll just ask this young Guinness World Record participant, how did she enjoy doing this activity known as rainwater harvesting?
Ma'am, I really enjoyed it. Like I learned.
You are from BD Memorial, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. BD Memorial participated from Kolkata.
Yes, ma'am. You were the host. I saw you like on an online platform.
Yeah, and the entire Vigyanika Shakti team is going to once again do the same experiment once we start meeting physically. So come on, now just see this beautiful video which I've come across especially for you all today.
Wait, I am going to share the sound. That's what I didn't do. So can you hear?
Because they are learning art integrated learning, so this song is going to be very, very useful for them.
Is it audible?
Yeah. I can hear.
Yes.
Thank you.
This is about the bicycle. Just see, because they love to ride a bicycle. A little louder.
Or wondered what causes your bicycle to move. Or thought about why it goes forward instead of backwards or sideways. Perhaps not, and you wouldn't be alone. It wasn't until the 17th century that Isaac Newton described the fundamental laws of motion, and we understood the answer to these 3 questions. What Newton recognized was that things tend to keep on doing what they are already doing. So when your bicycle is stopped, it stays stopped. And when it is going, it stays going. Objects in motion tend to stay in motion, and objects at rest tend to stay at rest. That's Newton's first law. Physicists call it the law of inertia, which is a fancy way of saying that moving objects don't spontaneously speed up, slow down, or change direction. It is this inertia that you must overcome to get your bicycle moving. Now you know that you have to overcome inertia to get your bicycle moving, but what is it that allows you to overcome it? Well, the answer is explained by Newton's second law. In mathematical terms, Newton's second law says that force is the product of mass times acceleration. To cause an object to accelerate or speed up, a force must be applied. The more force you apply, the quicker you accelerate. And the more mass your bicycle has, and the more mass you have too, the more force you have to use to accelerate at the same rate. This is why it would be really difficult to pedal a 10,000-pound bicycle. And it is this force, which is applied by your legs pushing down on the pedals, that allows you to overcome Newton's law of inertia. The harder you push down on the pedals, the bigger the force, and the quicker you accelerate. Now on to the final question. When you do get your bike moving, why does it go forward? According to Newton's third law, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. To understand this, think about what happens when you drop a bouncy ball. As the bouncy ball hits the floor, it causes a downward force on the floor. This is the action. The floor reacts by pushing on the ball with the same force, but in the opposite direction, upward, causing it to bounce back up to you. Together, the floor and the ball form what's called the action-reaction pair. When it comes to your bicycle, it is a little more complicated. As your bicycle wheels spin clockwise, the parts of each tire touching the ground push backwards against the earth. The actions. The ground pushes forward with the same force against each of your tires. The reactions. Since you have two bicycle tires, each one forms an action-reaction pair with the ground. And since the earth is really, really, really big compared to your bicycle, it barely moves from the force caused by your bicycle tires pushing backwards. But you are propelled forward.
So, how did you like it? Something known to you, you have seen? You are learning these things in your school, right?
Yes, ma'am. We have already learned the force.
Yes. So we can have some question answer session here. Can we have some questions? Can we know what is the first law? So now, since we are not going to have any kind of Google form related question answer session, my request to all of you is that while I'll be questioning you, you need to raise your hand, and Ma'am Anuja is going to only allow the one who will raise the hand to speak up. Will it be fine, Ma'am Anuja?
Yes.
Yes. So right now they have seen the three laws, and if they had been attentive, they will be able to answer these three questions, right, ma'am?
Ma'am, the
Yes.
first law was
Yes. What is the first law?
and the first law was little bit breaking.
Oh, you could not hear that. Anyway, anyone else who have heard it properly? Let's talk about the first law.
You have already seen the video where they have shown. Dimira, you have raised your hand.
Yes, ma'am.
Come on, let us hear.
The first law is that anything that is in motion will stay in motion, and anything that is resting will stay resting, and this is called inertia.
Yes, perfectly fine. So can we go to the next round? That is all about asking about the second law, and you will not answer now. It will be someone else. So sorry, but by the way, let's clap hands for your correct answer. Now, I would like to tell all of you that we will be taking the answer as per your age. It's not necessary that you have to be scientifically involved in answering your question. You can use your regular English by answering my question. You don't need to be very, very perfect by using the scientific names already announced through explanation in the video, fine? So if the second question goes, what is the second law? Can anyone tell me about the second law? Come on. Otherwise, once again, Jamira will get the chance and she'll get 2 points. No one is there raising the hand?
Divyanshi raised her hand.
Oh, fine. Divyanshi, over to you.
Ma'am, the second law is that force is equal to mass of an object is equal to acceleration.
So if you apply more force to an object, it accelerates at a higher rate, right?
Yes, ma'am. Higher rate, yes, ma'am.
Well, let's all clap hands for you, and then we go to the third law of motion. Who is there to explain the third law of motion? And then we'll hear a wonderful song. Anyone?
Yeah. Third law of motion, if anyone.
Ashmita.
Oh, they are answering. Good. Yes, Ashmita.
Ma'am, the third law is known as the reaction and the action.
Hello?
Yeah,
think,
yeah,
I
he's
think she
lost.
was muted. She was muted in between.
Ashmita wants to tell anything. Ashmita?
No, she already told. She said actually that it is all about action and reaction.
Reaction and reaction. Opposite pairs for every reaction, and there is an equal and opposite reaction. Wonderful.
Yeah, she said.
So now, my dear children, we all have hobbies, right? There are different kind of hobbies all of us are having. Would you like to know what Isaac Newton's hobby was? You have to tell me yes or no, then only I'll share.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
So you know, Sir Isaac Newton, he was famous for his revolutionary work in, can we all together name these work of his, or you can note them down? Because there are many places when we go, don't get all his work assembled together. We all know that he was a very famous mathematician. You know that? Are you aware that he was also a very famous mathematician?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. And along with him, in 17th century, there were two great mathematicians. One was Isaac Newton and the other one was Gottfried Leibniz. So these are the two people in 17th century. In addition to being a mathematician, he had done work in optics, gravity, and the laws of motion. And he had a very secret hobby. And his secret hobby was he used to keep a note of all his sins. Do you know what are sins? Means wrongdoing. This was his hobby. Can you ever believe anyone having a hobby of keeping the note of all the wrongdoing? And that's why I'm putting this question to you all. That dear children, we are growing up. You also try to make a diary of your wrongdoing and your good deeds. So both can be kept together. You know, he lost this collection at say around 70 years ago, and then he was really mad about it. He had one more passion, and the other passion was for alchemy and fruitless attempts to turn lead. Lead is a metal. He wanted to turn lead into gold. Can you believe what he was trying to do was he wanted to turn lead into gold.
Lead like the lead you use in pencils.
Yes. And that's what his hobby, then he had put on this hobby and he was trying to do that. He wanted to know what are the languages people use, like you wanted to know what Einstein, which were the language he was. If I speak of Isaac Newton, he spoke three languages. One was English, the other was Latin, and the third was Greek. Isaac Newton never married, you know. He never married. He went to Trinity College and he went to King's School. He had three siblings, three brothers and sisters, Hannah, Benjamin, and Mary Smith. He was very friendly with them, and his mother always wanted him to become a farmer, not a scientist. Can you ever believe that he was forced to become a farmer, but instead he became a famous scientist? So let's hear a wonderful song which I picked up based on Newton's law. Anuja, can you just play that song for them?
The second video.
Yes, YouTube video.
Okay.
They already had a lecture-based session in the beginning, so I just want to make it a little, yes, Newton's laws of motion.
So can you hear it?
Yeah.
An object at rest tends to stay resting. An object in motion will stay in motion. Keeps going at the same speed and direction. That means when a ball is takes the particles act on it. Features of our planet start acting in an instant. One is air resistance, goes the ball through friction. Gravity acts upon it, falls back to the surface. Force is anything that changes the state of an object to moving. On Earth, the strongest force is gravity. Sir Isaac Newton, 3 laws of motion. Thought to motion states for every action. There must be an opposite and equal reaction. So when that ball is kicked, one force will be a fit. The other force is the ball is the opposite direction. Force is anything that changes the state of an object to a moving. On Earth, the strongest force is gravity. Sir Isaac Newton, 3 laws of motion.
That was nice.
So did you enjoy this? These two different methods of showing you all about Isaac Newton. You're so small. There is a lot, there is unlimited things which we can talk about him. But there are few things you all should know about Isaac Newton, which I will be just sharing. As I said, that his mother wanted him to become a farmer. And, whenever he used to give lectures in Cambridge College, there were the least number of students attending to them. Can you ever believe these things? So that's why I'm just sharing with you, because I'm also one of the teachers. We have always wanted that there were too many children to hear to us, but still there aren't many. Similarly, it happened today. There was such good lecture from Kinkini ma'am. I'm just having an interactive session, but we never had so many children to hear to her wonderful presentation. So that's what happened with Newton also. Sir Isaac Newton, he, as I said, he used to keep the journals of his sins, his wrongdoing. Similarly, he used to plan himself very nicely. He used to plan things in such a manner so that he can execute them all the time in a proper manner. So that's what I would request you all. You should also follow few things of such learned, famous people. He never liked criticism. He could never take criticism, and he used to lose his temper. So that he did it. But we would request you all that you are growing up, you have been away from school, but now since when you join school, you will find a different kind of companionship and friendship from your friends. They'll be talking a little different than what they were talking 2 years back. So take up criticism, accept it, don't answer back. That would be my request to you all. Then another thing he really received was, he was knighted by Queen Anne. That is one great thing which Isaac Newton was given, and he was knighted, and that is why he is always addressed as Sir Isaac Newton. He always believed in seeing. He would always believe that seeing is what believing is. So why I'm saying these kind of words, his behavior I'm sharing with you, because there is something to learn from him other than what he has done as a scientist. So my dear children, sometimes it happens we react without even seeing the things. So my request to all of you is that make sure that you see and then you believe to what is been happening around you. And Sir Isaac Newton never had any rival. He never had any enemies. Everyone was friends. He had wonderful relationship with everyone. So my request to all of you is that you have to make sure that you always have friends with you all, so that everyone is your friend. Now, I had actually prepared a PPT. It all depends upon the time limit which we have. It's already 6:20. It depends upon what ma'am will say. But I would just want you to make sure that you follow the vision of such great men like S.M. Bose and Sir Isaac Newton and many, many scientists on whom we have been talking about. You need to know that what Newton stands for, because when you will be doing engineering, when you will be studying physics, you need to know what SI stands for. So there are few things, but I think this time will teach you, because right now you're too small. So if you feel, Anuja ma'am, that I can show that 22 slides PPT to them, I am ready to show them. Otherwise, we can keep it handy to do this program.
No, we can share. I mean, they should then know. I mean, if you,
because it's already 6:20. I was just thinking of the time limit which you have today. Rita ma'am is there?
Rita ma'am is probably traveling, that I saw, but we can go through, like you can go through a few slides. And if you want to, that's not a problem. We have time.
Are you ready, my dear children? You are not having any other program right now?
Yep.
They're
Yeah.
gearing up. They're kind of exercising. Yep.
Yeah, you ready to see? Huh?
Yep.
Yes. Half of you are not showing your videos. All of you have to be ready to see this particular slideshow. Yes, there is some repetition, but there are certain things which you may be knowing because I have put in some slides which will help
Do,
you to know more about those laws.
do you want me to
So,
show or do you want to show yourself?
you can show it. I just want their reaction. Even if they're interested, then I can go for it. Otherwise, no.
Okay.
Because see, basically, Isaac Newton is famous for these three laws for these children at this age. Once they grow up in 11, 12, they'll be learning more. This is all about Sir Isaac Newton, who was born in 1642. And this is a small brief about him. He received his bachelor's degree in the year 1665. His early life was very different. As I said, that his mother wanted him to be a farmer. He had 3 siblings. He has a very, very different career, but he was a very sincere person. And he's the one who's brought application of Newton's law in daily life. And that is what we have been using all through the time. I have already shown you a video all about the 3 laws, which teach us a lot of things, and it's very, very useful. So when you're riding a cycle, you will know why cycle goes straight, it doesn't go backward. When an apple is coming down, you will know what happens to it. And basically, more pressure, more methods are there to talk about Newton's law through the football game or through the colliding of the cars. So as we have already seen, the first law, what it talks about is in the second slide. And these are the examples for you all, that a soccer ball is sitting at rest. It takes an unbalanced force of a kick to change its motion. This you can try yourself as an experiment, as I was talking to Anuja ma'am, that sometimes we need to do some experiment with our children. And these are some experiment sort of things for you all to understand the force of a kick. Then here, you know, you all have played this game, na? All of you, tug of war, we call it. All of you have played this game. Yes, we have lost touch with this game last 2 years because we have not been with our friends, but at least you can play this game in your house with your family. It's all about tug of war, which talks about one of the laws of Newton's law. This is something which I think you all need to see. Number 2, yes. These are the few things which you go through. You will understand more about the first law. The car suddenly stops and you strain against the seat belt. What it is, you will always understand it's Newton's law. Similarly, when you go to the second, anyways, we come to the second law. No. Are you all reading or should I read it for you?
We're reading.
You are reading? You're enjoying reading it?
Yeah, they already now know about the second law, so it basically says the same thing, but giving you an example about what are the second law, where you can do this experiments also yourself to find that how the Newton second, actually when Newton came up with these laws, he also kind of saw these common things around, and that's what he explained by these laws.
He immersed more into this research work to find out, and then it was named. So you can, while sitting on the table, you can do it yourself. These are some sort of hands-on skill exercises, experiments for you all. Right. If you are noticing this, you can just do this according to what is mentioned here. Next.
Yeah. So we go to the third law now. And Newton third laws, as Ashmita said, that
it's so very clearly mentioned here. Here also there is one example for you all. So this is a summarization once again. Yeah. Because I just got the video at the last moment, so that is why.
These are the similar examples through which we can understand the simple laws of motion which was proposed by Newton. And for every force, wherever you see the force, you see the equal force in the opposite direction.
Correct.
Okay, so that is the main thing. And you also know that if someone is, let's say, like if you are bumping on something, you sometimes come back a little bit. So that is also due to this equal force of reaction. So all these are summarized in the slides in the presentation.
And they can have this presentation, I have no problem, if they would like to talk about Newton's law of motion.
Yeah, I think I will
it.
share this presentation with them if it's possible.
Yeah, you can.
So that they can revisit the examples, and they can, if they want to do some experiments themselves at home, they can also try in their hands-on.
Yes, and if they want to know other things, they can always get in touch, and we can give them more.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Mayuri ma'am. Thanks for being present with us and for sharing such wonderful videos, educational videos. And that's what actually attracts the students a lot, actually, this sounds effects, and they're really into now in this, always seeing the animation movies and something. So
yes.
that is thank you. Thanks a lot.
That's the reason I just changed that. No, I would not be delivering a lecture. I'll do something different for them. Though I got a very less time, and my device did not do any good to me.
No, that's fine. I mean, this is the issue that we are having all the times. Like our devices are kind of crashing in the middle sometimes. Many times they do that. So thanks a lot. Thanks for sharing the nice videos. Now moving on, we also have Shampa ma'am with us today. Shampa ma'am is do you want to, ma'am, share something about Sir Isaac Newton with our children?
Yes, she is the great person.
No, Anuja, today I am, yes.
Today you are listener?
Not very well, and internet is also getting problem.
Yeah. Okay, thanks a lot. But your presence actually matters a lot, and your comments. So thanks for the presence
very
and
nice.
also your comments.
Mayuri ma'am showed very nice videos very
to teach children,
and informative videos, very catchy videos also.
Yes.
I think students and children got fun out of it. So really,
they got fun through the songs and animation.
Learning at a time. Yes.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for your kind words. So moving on again. So today, along with the birthday celebrations, I also kind of wanted to show you some hands-on things, but seems that the time is not permitting. But today also we have whipped cream day, and also birds, like National Bird Day. So these are important days I mentioned because these are something that also is related to the science activities and science knowledge. Whenever we are talking about whipped cream, it seems like it's a food, nothing to do with the science, but food also has a lot of science in that. So I want to also share like a small video to show that how the
food also has math.
Food also has math, food also has science. So basically maths and science is in everything. That's the whole point. So on national,
like you're calculating how much sugar it needs to make a cake.
Yes, exactly. If you want to make a cake, you have to mix equal amount of this and that. So if you kind of change the proportion, then it messes up everything.
Anuja ma'am, not equal amount, proper proportion. If you want to make a cake, you have to
not equal amount, proper proportion that I later on added. So proper proportion of the things should be there, otherwise it will not be as good tasty at all. So this is important. So maths is everywhere. In the same thing, in National Whipped Cream Day, we also have science in that. So I want to show you just a couple of minutes video that how. So you know about the whipped cream. What is a whipped cream? Why? What is Audrija showing that?
Ma'am, we use that for decorating our cake.
We use that for decorating our cake, but it is what is the cream made up of actually?
It's milk turned into cream which has been whipped.
Yes.
Yeah. So we do whip. So whipping means what?
Beating.
Beating. So why do we want to beat cream and then use it on the cake? Why are we not just pouring the, makes it fluffy? Exactly. And the fluffiness we like that it just becomes fluffy and we can decorate it as the way we like. So what makes it fluffy? Why does it become fluffy?
Ma'am, because we mix it many times, that's why.
We mix it many times and force. Okay, so much, so many answers. That is very good. But along with the force, there is another magic ingredient in that. Do you know what? That makes it fluffy?
And baking soda?
No, we don't actually mix baking soda in the cream to make it
flour.
wet.
Flour.
No.
Sugar.
But that's
Force.
good guesses. We are mixing something which is, we have plenty of us we have around. Air, exactly. We are mixing air in that. So how does it make it fluffy? Let's see.
The air bubbles get inside.
The air bubble get inside, but how does it make it fluffy? So let's just see a small video to find out that how does it. Can you see the screen?
I can see. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. I think I can make a cake.
And see if
Our
it
answer
can
starts with the heavy cream itself, which is made up of a answer starts with the heavy cream itself, which is made up of a lot of fat. In fact, it's 36 to 40% fat. The rest is just water, protein, sugars, and minerals. The only real difference between liquid heavy cream and a whipped heavy cream is air. The scientific secret to fluffiness works like this. When you mix whipping cream by hand or with an electric mixer, you are creating lots of tiny air bubbles. As more and more bubbles form, held in place by the fat in the cream, the lighter and the fluffier your whipped cream becomes. Okay, that's super awesome, but did you know? Keeping things cold is the key to the fluffiest whipped cream. Because fat in the heavy cream is firmer and more solid when it's cold, it can support even more trapped air bubbles, giving you even fluffier results than if you used room temperature cream. Whoa, that's one cool tip. Mind officially blown. See you next time.
So you understand how the air is coming, mixing with the around the fat is forming a layer. So it's basically trapping, all the air bubbles are trapping the fat particles in the cream. And that makes it more fluffier and fluffier. And as we are adding more and more air in it, it's becoming fluffier and fluffier. So that is called, actually, when you grow up, you'll know that is called an emulsion also. When you have emulsion of air and fat together and you create like a air, I can say the atmosphere around the fat bubble.
Is it like how you create crust?
How you create crust. Yes, you can create a crust, and this is the same concept when you are creating the crust of air around the fat.
Not crust, rust.
Crust?
Rust. Ma'am, T-R-U-S-T. No, R-U-S-T, rust.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, crust. Okay. maybe we are having different, like we are hearing different things.
Rust.
No, not rust, crust. Rust? Okay. No. It is not at all related to rust. Rust is, okay, rust is when you have iron and it's reacting, the surface is reacting to form what is a compound of iron, what is called iron oxide, which is rust in color. That's it's called rust, but it has nothing to do with rust.
So
this
like
is not at all related to rust.
The cream is the iron and the water is the force.
That's what I said. It's called emulsion. It's not called like when we are mixing water and oil. Also, the water droplets, the oil droplets go inside the water, or the water droplets go inside the oil, and they can mix also through some kind of chemicals. That is called emulsion. So in this case, it is the same thing, but where the fat droplets are surrounded by the air. As more and more air are thrusted in, we can see that its fluffiness increases. So this is how the whipped cream happens. But what is called whipped cream day is also to promote the more use of cream in day-to-day life, which is also more healthy because it has got a lot of protein in that. We saw that along in the cream we have fat as well as we have more protein. So protein intake in our daily diet is very important, particularly for the children. A little bit of healthy fat is very good for the brain to develop. So on the whipped cream day, we also come up with different kind of new recipes made up of whipped cream, so that to promote like the use of whipped cream in our regular recipes in many desserts and so on. And now we use electric beater. Before we used to use a hand, and the very beginning we used a willow stick. In 16th century they used a willow stick to kind of stir the milk fat, and that's how the concept of whipping cream came in. And they saw that if you are stirring more and more with the willow stick, then it becomes very fluffy. Okay, that's willow stick. Yes, those are willow branches, and through those willow branches they used to stick. So that dates back in 16th century in England, where the whipped cream was discovered, and then after that it became a regular ingredient in desserts. And we all loved whipped creams because we can eat it with anything. We can spread it on dessert, we can eat it with in cream salads, like in fruit salads, and fruit salads become
You
more
can eat
yummy.
it by itself.
You can eat it by itself also. If you're not adding much sugar in it, then it becomes it's also like a linearly to the butter. So a butter can be also whipped and to make us buttercream. So that way we can make different kind of whipped cream from butter and from only milk fat and so on. So this is why today is also we celebrate as whipped cream day.
Ma'am,
So
is there also a chocolate day?
Of course, there is a chocolate day. I have to see which day, but that I give you assignment to find out what is the chocolate day. That day we will go to a chocolate factory to see how the chocolate are prepared from cocoa and sugar and milk. So thank you. That is for the food science. Okay, you already searched for it. So that is for the so this is like related to food science. Food science is also a part of science, because where we can include scientific like experiments and technologies to make more food more tasty and also more healthy. That is important. So also along with that, we also have today bird day, National Bird Day, means Pakhi Der Divas.
The birthday of birthday.
The birthday of birthday. Thank you. But why bird is important? Birds are important. Why do you think? Why should we need a bird day?
There are 1,000 types.
Huh?
And also birds play
Anyone
a special
else?
role.
Anyone else? Why do you need bird day? So many of the birds are becoming very endangered also because we are killing them for no reason. Right? So to protect them, because they're equally important for our environment, they pollinate, they go from one place to the other. They are migratory birds. They are very aesthetically very beautiful, means when we look at them we feel very good. Not only that, they have a big role to keep a balance of nature. So natural balance, to keep the balance of the nature, we need birds. And if you go to do you know the evolutionary cycle, like how the birds came in afterward, from which the birds came in?
Dinosaurs.
From dinosaurs. Okay, so from the evolutionary cycle, the birds came from the dinosaurs. So basically it follows a very evolutionary path. If we don't, we really can't destroy the birds like that way. So to save the birds, to promote love for the birds, so that the different like extinct birds get more breed, so we also observe this bird day. And I want to again show you like a small video on that, when a bird, a girl like you actually are very interested. She's very interested in bird watching. So do you know what is called bird watching?
When you spot for different birds and note it down in a book.
But not only that, bird watching, it's not just for hobby. Yes, Oshmita, you raised your hand.
Discovering new birds.
Oshmita, you want to say something? I think she raised hand by mistake. But bird watching is just not for fun. Bird watching gives a lot of information, because one person, if doing right bird watching, can also find out new species of birds, and which adds to the scientific knowledge of the bird we have. So bird watching is very important also, from the point that we all need to know what kind of birds are around. If there is a bird which is a new species is coming up, has come up, or if some species of the birds is extinct, that is also important to know. So bird watching overall is an important hobby. It is just not for fun. It is a very scientific hobby. So let me show you a video where a girl actually explains how she likes bird watching and what she does to locate the right bird from a book of bird watchers. So
Anuja also mentioned that in the past, some birds like pigeon were used for sending message from one place to other, and they rightly get the direction and the right places to deliver the message. আগেকার দিনে যেটা করা হতো না, পায়রার পায়ে বেঁধে দেওয়া
অবশ্যই
হতো।
আগেকার দিনে যেহেতু, because we didn't have communication like we email, we could not do WhatsApp. So also we sometimes on those days we could not even send letters because there were no postman. The postal services kichu chilo na. Then the birds were like birds are very fast, right? They can fly from one place to the other like very fast. So that's why pigeons and many other birds were used for sending messages from one part to the other.
How did the pigeons know where to send the message?
They were trained. They were trained the direction where to go. They were trained like that. So that's why the pigeons were used, because they were trained from the very beginning, like which place to go and which direction to go and so on. So they are pigeons were like are very kind of intelligent. That's the reason why bird watching is very important. Is a very important part, because if you think that birds are very dumb, but they are not. They are very intelligent species. They, if trained properly, a bird can actually be a good friend and also can do a lot of things, and you cannot imagine they can do. So because like we have not known our environment that much, right? Because we do not spend time with our environment. So that is very important, because spending time knowing the other creatures we belong with is very important. Otherwise we'll not know what they can do, and we will always think that we are the smartest, we are the smartest of all. But that is not true. There are other creatures, also they have the brains, they also think, they also act when they are exposed properly. We also know about dolphins. Some of the dolphins have been seen to be very intelligent. Some of the whales are also very intelligent. So we have to know our environment, and to promote also, like to know about our environment, to think about how to save them. Because if they get extinct, we will not survive. It is not that only human can survive when all the other creatures get extinct. It is not possible. So each and every animal is important.
Ma'am, can I share screen a bird?
You want to share screen a bird? Why?
I just found it and it looks really weird.
Weird bird. Okay, show.
This is when it's the wings
It is
are
not a
together.
weird bird. It is very beautiful bird.
No,
actually.
this is when it's the wings are open.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful bird actually. So there, all the colors of the bird, their features, the shape of the wings are all related to the environment they live in, and also many
The name is just written down there.
Yeah, so you can see and find about these birds. So let me share that slides with you. I mean the video with you where the girl is actually telling that how to. So let me first tell me if you can hear the sound. So can you hear the sound?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Maya the Science Kid. Today I'm going bird watching. This book is called Ornithology. Ornithology is the study of birds. That's why I have it out. It's handy to have when you're studying birds. And then sometimes you might need a field guide to your region because you might need, oh, what's this bird? And then find it. Or what about this bird? Because it also has a description of what the bird is. When you write your notes, you need to know what bird it is. That's why you have a field guide. You look up its specific characteristics, like maybe you see a bird with red wings, or maybe white wings with red tips, or maybe white beaks, or maybe short beaks, or maybe flat beaks, or maybe long beaks. And then you look in your field guide and you see if you can find those characteristics. If you find it, then you look up the name and you write it down. When you're watching for birds, you have to stay still and be a little quieter than usual. Also, if you use your ears to listen, you can probably figure out maybe another bird. Because you have two ears, one ear can detect a sound on this side, the other ear might detect a sound on this side. And if you only had one ear, you wouldn't know which side it was on. You'd only know that you heard the sound. But because we have two ears, one here, you could say, oh, well, I hear something in the middle. So you look here and you look here, and you look kind of in the middle. Then you say, oh, I hear something over here. And I hear something over here. And then you can find the bird. I just found a bird. I'm gonna look for it. When you're going bird watching, sometimes you need to write down what birds you found. Maybe in a notebook, or maybe just on a piece of paper. We've seen a chickadee, a woodpecker, a crow, and a hummingbird. Exploring the woods is fun. Sometimes you might want to look at flowers. Bird watching is fun. I think you might like it if you tried it. See you next time on a Mind the Science Kid video.
Yeah. So the point is that she is like a small girl who wants to go for bird watching, just for fun also. Like when you're watching TV or when you're watching your smartphone, it's probably a good idea also if you have a backyard. Even if you have like a patio, like a baranda, you can go and take a look outside, because this winter is a very good season to see the birds, there is very small birds are coming. Sometimes they are migratory. They are actually do not stay here or in your place for a long time. They are coming from a long distance. You may never know whether you are spotting maybe a bird from Siberia. So this is like a good.
Siberia?
Yes, there are many birds which also come from Siberia from a after a long
What's
distance of
Siberia?
flying. Siberia is above Russia, like where it is so cold that the bird get frozen in the winter. So they migrate long time before the winter sets in there, so that they can go to the tropical country or the near tropical country to get food, because those places are then frozen. You'll not get food for months. That's why, like, if you go to the lake, like in the Robindra Sarovar, and there are, like, if you sit down and you can find out, there are so many migratory birds. Actually, they come in, they fly in those places. So wherever there are lakes in Kolkata, big lakes, many of the places actually we can spot migratory birds. But not only migratory birds, but our regular birds. We know, like, do you know about finge? Do you know about bulbuli? Do you know about, have you seen the kingfisher? The kingfisher is so beautiful, but
Yes,
how many
ma'am, we have seen. I have seen.
Yes, ma'am, I have seen
in the
also.
photo, but not the real one.
I have seen also.
Yeah, the real one, which means that you have seen it in the picture, but the kingfisher or
Ma'am, I have
Machwana,
seen
but
it
we
in
call it
real.
in Bengali, we do see it actually. If you just spread up your like eyes, and
You
let's
never
say,
know
like,
when they're going to come.
yes, and no, it's not like that. If you are just, so if you are watching TV for like 2 hours, and in the meantime, you can go and spend some time outside to explore, where you can see those birds. So this is
Ma'am, I saw a
important.
kingfisher in real.
Okay, very good. But as you saw, Maya used a binocular. So sometimes if you have a binocular, you can
Ma'am,
take
I
that.
don't have a binocular.
Yes, ma'am, I have it. I don't know where it is now. I think
Okay, maybe that is a good idea to explore, that you can take a binocular. You can go to a place, if you're going somewhere in an open
Ma'am,
place,
I
to
don't
take your
have
binocular.
binoculars.
Okay, then maybe you can buy yourself a toy binocular sometimes, or some people also, definitely you can borrow it from some of your friends to take it someplace if you're going in a natural environment. So the point of the bird day is also to promote the thought of saving birds by watching how they are breeding, how they are sustaining in the environment. So you get more love for you can feel more love for those small birds who are chirping around. If when you are getting up in the morning, if you are not hearing bird sound, if you are just hearing honking of the honks, of course you do not like that. If you're waking up by hearing the chirping of the birds, it's much more soothing to your ears. So they are very important to our environment, in our existence. They're part of our existence. So that is also like a message to give on the birthday, and to save the birds, to look for birds, to identify birds, and feel love for the birds. Okay, so that will be all of our planned events that we had for today. And if you have anything to share, since today you didn't have your presentation, please do share with me. I will post it in the group. And even anything about the whipped cream, if you have any, suddenly if you remember any recipe on the with the whipped cream, you are always welcome to send us, so that I can share with our other children that how whipped cream is used for different kind of desserts, and what is the science behind the whipped cream. I will share these videos with you so that you can take a look. You can show the other children of your friends that these are the science behind. There's also science behind food, so that is important to know. So thank you. Thanks a lot. I hope you have a very good rest of the day. And we have Rita ma'am. Rita ma'am, we haven't heard from you for today. Do you have any message for our children? Oh, I think Rita ma'am has internet connectivity or something. Shampa ma'am, oh, they are all kind of has internet. Hi, Rita ma'am.
Yes. Just now I reached home. Just.
Yes, you're traveling, I saw.
Yes. Our children are always excellent. So I just want to tell about all these scientists one thing. They have dedication. So like our children should have dedication. Already you all have dedication. Number 2, their sincerity. Number 3, they are very kind. I just want to share one story. That is Einstein. Einstein once he wrote, that time you can't type it, you can't preserve it, you can't keep the photocopy, nothing. You have to write in your hand, whatever is in your mind. So Einstein wrote so many research work and it was on his table. And one day he is having one very loving dog. And I just forgot the name of that dog.
Laika.
The was writing on the table and with a candle. The electricity was not there. So with the candle was there, candle was in his table and he was writing. And there was lots of heap of his research work, paper. And the little, that doggy, he was jumping and he turned this candle into this paper. And you know, when this Einstein came, he has seen that all papers become ashes. Papers means his research, his good paper, his thought. Just if it is me, what I should do, I become very angry, very annoyed and everything. And Einstein was very calm and quiet, and he only uttered one thing. Dear doggy, you don't know what you have done today. So what from this story, from this incident, what we have learned? We have learned he had kindness and love to not only in mankind, to all the living beings, isn't it? And doggy was innocent. He knew that doggy was innocent. What he did, really tremendous loss. There is no doubt about it. But the thing is that he excused. So if anyone is doing any unkind thing, we have to excuse him or her. That is also we have learned from Einstein's life. And any great personality, they have passionate heart, they have their kindness. Then, yes, then that is why they are great. Even today, they are alive in our heart, in our book, in our society, in the world, because of their goodness and study and sincerity, isn't it? That I want to tell all my children. You all are very good, and I pray for you. You increase your dedication, determination, sincerity, kindness, love, and you should have the big heart to excuse any unknowing evil or any misbehaved person, but you will achieve one day. You will do the best. You will be the great person at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita ma'am. Thanks a lot. We already are 7. So a lot of things have been covered today in the meeting, and I hope children have enjoyed each and every part of it. Today it was kept as more like an interactive session for them, not and children were told before that they don't have to present today. So next week actually on Sunday, but I will announce it. We will possibly have like what we have not done for a long time is a movie evening. So we should have a movie evening, and that day we will show you something extraordinary movie about some great personality and related science about it. So stay tuned as I will announce about it, and by that time, until then, see you all again, and until then, stay well, stay healthy, be safe, and enjoy the winter. Okay, see you again. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Bye bye, Divyanshi. Bye bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.
Everybody.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Yes, Happy New Year to you too.
I'm funny.
I have to stop the recording.
Yes, you have to stop the live and then end
That
the
I'm
meeting.
trying, but where is that? I'm not certain.
On the corner, live on YouTube is going on.
I'm that searching.
Bye, bye, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Aniksha, you haven't heard you for a long time.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, maybe next time.
Ma'am, can I stop the recording?
Yes, sure, you should.
Yes, please, please. Yes.